Mao Zedong Wansui lived 10,000 years.
Hey there! Today, let's talk about an interesting and controversial topic: how communism was the worst idea in history. Actually, tragic. Communism, as you may already know, is a political and economic ideology that aims to create a classless society, where everyone has equal access to resources and the means of production. However, despite its seemingly noble goals, communism has been widely criticized for its implementation, which has often led to disastrous consequences. Hello everyone, welcome back to Edge Capitalism. In Edge Capitalism, we analyze how power and value is created in the world. If you like our content, share and subscribe to our channel. Are you ready? Let's get started. In this discussion, we'll explore the history of communism, its key principles, and the ways in which its implementation has failed to meet its goals. We will also discuss some of the major tragedies associated with communism, including famines, political repression, and the loss of individual freedoms. Now, you might be wondering why we're discussing such a controversial topic. Well, the truth is, communism has had a profound impact on the world and has shaped the political and economic landscape of many countries. By examining its history and consequences, we can gain a better understanding of the complex issues surrounding it and perhaps learn from the mistakes of the past. So, whether you're a student of history, a political enthusiast, or just someone who wants to learn more about communism, stay tuned. We're about to embark on a fascinating and thought-provoking journey into the world of communism and its tragic consequences. Political repression is one of the most troubling and well-known features of communist regimes. These regimes have often used brutal tactics to maintain their grip on power, including the arrest, torture, and execution of political dissidents and opposition leaders. One of the most infamous examples of political repression under communism was Stalin's Great Purge in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. During this period, Stalin launched a campaign to eliminate political rivals and anyone deemed a threat to his power. The exact number of people killed during the purges is unknown, but estimates range from several hundred thousand to over 1 million. Many of the victims were Communist Party members, military officers, and intellectuals. In China, Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, was another example of political repression under communism. Mao launched a campaign to root out counter-revolutionary elements within the Communist Party, resulting in the persecution and execution of millions of people. Intellectuals, artists, and anyone perceived as a threat to Mao's rule were targeted, and many were sent to labor camps or executed. The East German Stasi, a secret police force, was also notorious for its repression of political dissent. From 1950 to 1989, the Stasi monitored and controlled every aspect of East German society, using informants and surveillance to maintain control. The Stasi's tactics included torture, kidnapping, and assassination, and it is estimated that 1 in every 63 East Germans was a Stasi informant. Economic failure is another hallmark of communism, and many countries that have attempted to implement communist economic policies have experienced significant hardship and poverty. One of the most well-known examples of economic failure under communism was the Soviet Union. Despite its vast natural resources and talented workforce, the Soviet economy struggled to compete with Western economies in terms of productivity and efficiency. Centralized planning and state ownership of most industries led to a lack of innovation, and shortages of basic goods and services were common. In China, Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 1962, was an attempt to rapidly industrialize and modernize the economy through collective farming and industrialization. However, the policy led to widespread famine, with estimates of death toll ranging from 15 million to 45 million people. In Cuba, the communist government led by Fidel Castro nationalized most industries after the 1959 revolution, leading to a lack of foreign investment and economic isolation. The Cuban economy struggled to provide basic goods and services to its citizens, leading to widespread poverty and hardship. Suppression of individual freedoms is a common feature of communist regimes, with strict limits placed on freedom of speech, religion, and the press. One of the most well-known examples of the suppression of individual freedoms under communism was the Soviet Union. The Communist Party controlled all aspects of society, including the media and education system, and anyone who spoke out against the government risked being labeled a counter-revolutionary and facing severe punishment. Censorship was common, and any works of literature or art that were deemed critical of the government were banned or destroyed. In China, the government tightly controls access to the internet and censors online content that is deemed politically sensitive. The government also closely monitors religious and ethnic minorities, with reports of internment camps and forced labor in the Xinjiang region. Cuba is another example of a country where individual freedoms are heavily restricted. The government controls all media outlets, and citizens are not allowed to criticize the government or engage in political dissent. The government also monitors internet usage and blocks websites that are deemed to be critical of the regime. Famine and starvation are other tragic consequences associated with communism, with several countries experiencing catastrophic food shortages and resulting in the deaths of millions of people. One of the most well-known examples of famine under communism was the Great Chinese Famine of 1958 to 1962, which occurred during Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward campaign. The policy aimed to rapidly industrialize the Chinese economy, but led to a series of agricultural disasters that resulted in widespread famine. It is estimated that 15 to 45 million people died as a result of the famine, making it one of the deadliest in human history. In the Soviet Union, the government's policies of forced collectivization and industrialization in the 1930s led to a series of man-made famines, particularly in Ukraine. The Soviet government confiscated grain and other foodstuffs from the Ukrainian peasants, leading to widespread starvation. Estimates of the death toll range from 3 to 12 million people. North Korea has also experienced several famines in recent decades, with the government's economic policies and natural disasters leading to food shortages and widespread starvation. The exact number of people who have died as a result of the famines is unknown, but estimates range from hundreds of thousands to millions. Lack of democracy is another hallmark of communist regimes, with power often concentrated in the hands of a small group of party leaders, and little to no political opposition or public accountability. In the Soviet Union, the Communist Party was the only legal political party, and all other political organizations were banned. The party controlled all aspects of society, including the media, education system, and government, with little to no public input or opposition. Similarly, in China, the Communist Party has been in power since 1949, with little to no political opposition. The party tightly controls all aspects of society, including the media and education system, and citizens have limited access to information and political discourse. In North Korea, the ruling Workers' Party is the only legal political party, with little to no political opposition or public accountability. The government tightly controls all aspects of society, including the media and education system, and citizens have limited access to information and political discourse. Environmental degradation is another negative consequence associated with communism, with several countries experiencing severe damage to their natural environments. In the Soviet Union, the government's policies of forced industrialization and centralized planning led to significant environmental damage. Factories and power plants were built without regard for the impact on the surrounding environment, leading to air and water pollution. The Aral Sea, once one of the largest lakes in the world, was drained for agricultural irrigation, leading to a catastrophic ecological disaster. Similarly, in China, the government's policies of rapid industrialization and urbanization have led to severe air and water pollution. The country has also experienced significant deforestation and desertification, as well as damage to its rivers and lakes. Cuba has also experienced environmental damage, with the government's policies of centralized planning and state control of industry leading to a lack of investment in environmental protection. The country has experienced significant soil erosion, deforestation, along with air and water pollution. Loss of cultural heritage is another negative consequence associated with communism, with several countries experiencing the suppression and loss of their unique cultural identities. In the Soviet Union, the government's policies of Russification aimed to promote Russian culture and suppress the cultural identities of other ethnic groups within the country. Many languages and cultural traditions were banned or discouraged, leading to the loss of unique cultural identities. The impact of these policies is still felt today in countries such as Ukraine, where efforts to promote the Ukrainian language and culture have been met with resistance. Similarly, in China, the government has implemented policies aimed at suppressing the cultural traditions of ethnic minorities, such as the Uyghurs and Tibetans. The government has discouraged the use of minority languages and cultural practices, and has been accused of human rights abuses in its treatment of minority groups. Cuba has also experienced the suppression of cultural heritage, with the government's policies of state control of culture and the arts leading to a lack of diversity and artistic expression. Many artists and intellectuals have been persecuted for their work, and the government has suppressed cultural traditions that it deems to be politically or socially unacceptable. International aggression is another negative consequence associated with communism, with several countries engaging in aggressive foreign policy actions under communist regimes. One of the most well-known examples of international aggression under communism was the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. The Soviet Union sent troops into Afghanistan to prop up the communist government there, leading to a decade-long war that killed over 1 million people and displaced millions more. In China, the government has engaged in territorial disputes with several neighboring countries, including India, Japan, and Vietnam. The government has also been accused of supporting militant groups in other countries, including North Korea and Myanmar. Cuba has also engaged in international aggression, with the government supporting left-wing revolutionary movements in other countries, including Angola and Nicaragua. The Cuban government has also been accused of human rights abuses in its treatment of political dissidents and opposition leaders. That is it for today. I hope you liked this video. For more updates on this topic, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Remember, capitalism is about creating value, not money. See you!